Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Street Apologist Live. I'm your host, VOCABB MALONE. It's 9 o'clock here on the West Coast. Don't worry, I'm going to show my face in just a second here. Today is Saturday, October 19th, 2019, and we are going to be discussing the Joker meeting Muhammad in the Boom Boom Room. Welcome to the program. How y'all doing? All right, I'm feeling nice and comfy, all geared up, reared up, ready to go. I'm set. How about you? Last night we did a reaction to a Boom Boom Room video. It went so well that I said, you know what? We should do just our own straight reaction review to the most current Boom Boom Room, which is where the Joker meets Muhammad in the Boom Boom Room. And I think I got good feedback from that idea. And so that's exactly what we'll be doing today. I'm very excited about it, and I think a lot of you are as well. Again, Street Apologist Live is the name of the show, and the goal here on the program is to serve the underserved and look into the overlooked. And the underserved this time are actually the millions of Muslims around the world who do not really know a lot about the man that they call Prophet Muhammad. They don't know things that they should know. They've got a whitewashed Disney version of Muhammad, but we want to give people the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in regards to a man who claims to be the model for all kind. And I think that's fair to do if you're going to be claiming to be the pattern for conduct for everybody. An examination of your life makes sense. And so that's what we do through these Boom Boom Room episodes, where the idea is Muhammad has a talk show and he invites fictional, of course, guests like the Joker in this case, and also non-fictional guests like tomorrow's Boom Boom Room featuring the apostate prophet. He's a real person. Muhammad's going to be meeting the apostate prophet tomorrow in the Boom Boom Room. So I know this apologetic style is a little bit different, but as you'll hear me say at the end of the show, we like to make apologetics fun again. And the gag there is that apologetics was never necessarily fun in the first place. And that's part of the humor, even saying that. At least it is to us. And what I'm going to do on tonight's show is for those of you who enjoy the Boom Boom Room, you're in for a special treat because I'm going to give behind-the-scenes anecdotes to this very special episode that probably more than any other we've got feedback on. And really, to those who are here, who've really been down since day one, you know, the core and everything, you guys understand this because really a big way that I really got into YouTube side of apologetics and broadcasting and live streaming in the first place was I would sit down and spend time with you guys. And remember, I would do behind-the-scenes commentary. That's what it means whenever you see the three letters BTS, by the way. We would sit down and we would do, this behind-the-scenes commentary on Islamicize Me, which, David, John McCrae, and a number of others did, which was a 32-episode web series you can watch on Act 17 Apologetics that imagined if three young men converted to Islam and tried to literally walk out the teachings of Muhammad. And so that was one entry into apologetic madness, and now the Boom Boom Room is another, because we know what we're doing is crazy and off-kilter, but we think it should be done. Excuse me. I'd be killing it, man. I'd be killing it with those little... All right, so my point is this will have somewhat of a familiar feel to some of you because you guys will remember when we have done this before, and I think it's a beautiful thing. We're bringing it back in that sense, and I'm glad about that. So, with that being said, you guys can see Justice in the background, and let me give a shout out real quick to the live chat, and we'll get started here. What's up to him, Sunshine, who says the Joker in the Boom Boom Room was better than the new movie for me. The Joker was totally fleshed out more so than Muhammad. Species be upon you. I say Joker stole the show. Yeah, I mean, there's really no way. Whoever the actor is playing Muhammad, they really had no shot at outshining the Joker. Kind of like Christian Bale. Yeah, he was a star and Ledger was considered the supporting actor or whatever, but Did he really have a chance to outshine Heath Ledger? I don't think so. So whoever was playing Muhammad had a similar quandary. What's up, Rox B? Thank you for everything you do and who you are, sis. That's right. Jonathan Crocker, happy birthday to you. What's up, Enoch? And what's up, Nate2D2? Thank you for who you are, too. What's up, Liza J? You should be getting your prize sometime this week for the show with Dr. Rana. By the way, that reminds me, if you're a Patreon supporter, be sure to watch the exclusive interview I did with Rana. Hey, Cherie, how you doing? Hey, what's up, Hayden? Hey, what's up, D-New? Thanks for indexing all those shows. I'm finally trying to catch up with you. And what's up, Young Diction? How you doing? Hey, Carm. I see you're starting a new Instagram. Hey, Dr. Funny. Thank you for the headphones, which match my outfit, I must say again, even though I've already said that. What's up, Anthony De Silva? You sound like a fellow Paisan, so hey to you. Know what I'm saying? And we've also got Andrea Cruz. How you doing? Kevin Raby. What's up, Gerard, all the way from Brooklyn? What's up, Jungle Jargon? What's up, Pedro Jr.? And also we've got Mama. Sorry. My bad, Mama. Hey, what's up, Mama? I won't pronounce the last name right now. What's up, Rational Wrong Think? Well, that's an interesting name. Good day to you, too. We have another Aussie in the house, it looks like. What's up, Richard James at AKDJ Photo Capture? What's up, Malkov the Mad? All right, let's get started. I've already got everything set up. Know what I mean? The dog's in the background. I even threw a couple black lights against the wall. I don't think they have much effect. I'm not a lighting guy, but I be messing around. So, what's up, Son of Saturn? So I got it set up to go here. I know it's late for you guys on the East Coast. Excuse me about that, but it is a weekend. So you should be all right. So we're just going to watch this together, and I'm going to stop. And what will happen is you'll learn about the production of it, yes, but we'll also learn more about the Joker and Muhammad. So this is sort of edutainment. It educates because you're going to learn about Muhammad, which is the most important thing. We're testing his prophetic credentials, but you're also going to learn about other things that are apologetics like. But apologetics is the main focus, you know? Good. I'm glad you saw it, Liza. That was on Origin of Life Research. And what's up, New Covenant? And what's up, Mighty Mouse? You guys are funny. I see your guys' comments. All right, let's hit the play button. Let me know how this sounds and looks, everybody. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Turn up a little bit. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Muhammad's Boom Boom Room, where all of my guests either agree with me completely or they go boom. I am your host, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon me. And with me now is the greatest supervillain of all time, the clown prince of crime, the jester. Carm, you're right. Everybody hit that like button and please grab this link and share it. I don't know if you guys noticed, but usually when I do a live stream, it usually goes an hour and a half. The time's a little long for some people. It's more of a community building type of thing. Not everybody is down for all that, and I get that, right? But that's about where I like to do live streams, about an hour and a half. I feel like that's just about right, and the audience seems to agree. We're getting started already, and Carm says, how do you not laugh at yourself, Vocab? Well, we laugh the whole time we do these. This was just David and I only. We're the only people there. We didn't have a crew this time at all. And we were laughing a lot. A lot. A lot. Usually I'm more guilty of it than David. Usually David can hold his... I'm actually usually the worst one. John and David will seem to be fine. There's times they laugh too. They mess up a lot, don't get me wrong. But, ma'am, I just... stuff just starts to get funnier and funnier. Yeah, I do laugh with myself. I mean, seriously, because... Anyways. That's funny. I can't imagine Muhammad without his impression. It's just flawless. It's funny where we landed on that, and now it just seems to work. You know, it's kind of funny, so thank you for that. You should do Moses and Muhammad. Mighty Mouse, there is a Moses and Muhammad. It's already been recorded, so it will be coming out. The question is when. Hopefully before the end of the year. It's already done, though. And we've also got LJ's Vlog who says, Vocab, a couple things. Apparently BBR is a new album. Didn't know that. And James White is not a fan of BBR. Well, bless his heart, he doesn't have to be. And we kind of figured that, although we didn't, we're not trying to intentionally make anyone upset, although we do want to make people think. So let's continue on here with David Wood and his immaculate Joker costume and his incredible makeup that a local friend of mine here did. Continuing on.
Genocide, the ace of knaves, the caliph of clowns, live and in person, it's the one and only Joker! Pre-recorded for this time zone.
Now that line, David thought was the funniest thing. Apparently the Joker says that in some cartoon or comic or something. I didn't think it was that funny. I was like, why is that so? Why do you think that's... I didn't ask him to kick it out. If I feel strongly about a line being not good, I'll push to kick it out. We've had our fights, trust me, because I can have a strong personality. And I know David has a strong personality. Everyone knows that. But I can have a strong personality. But I didn't fight back on this one. I just didn't understand why he thought it was so funny. That's funny. Why is it so funny? That's not really that funny. Anyways, I'm just giving my random thoughts right now. Rox B asks, how long did David's makeup take? This lady, Jalea, is a professional. She knocked it out in an hour and a half. And it's funny because we sent her a reference picture, which is very the classic Joker look, closer to Jack Nicholson. But what happened is she kind of did her own interpretation. She veered off what we suggested. And David was like, oh, why is she doing this stuff around the eyes? So David could tell. But we kind of just let her go at it because she's dope. And so it ended up with this mixture of the old and the new Joker, and we're like, you know what, that works. So she had her artistic input. Shout out to her, but it took an hour and a half. And yes, Nate, you are correct. The voice ultimately that David settled on closest to was Mark Hamill, of course, Luke Skywalker from Star Wars trilogy and all that. You're right. That's the first time David broke the fourth wall. David kept on breaking the fourth wall with this character. He thought it was awesome. Yeah, he is channeling the 90s cartoon version, but he could sound like the original Joker as well, and that is a great still image. All right, you guys are commenting so much, we're getting trapped.
Don't interrupt me!
So Muhammad's already upset. So the idea is that Joker embraces chaos as a way of life. The Joker is sort of a nihilist, anarchist. People have different takes on the Joker, so I'm just going to give you my little take, okay? Not everyone will agree, and that's okay. You can totally disagree with me in the comment section or the live stream. That's okay, right? I don't claim to be expert on these things. But he's immediately interrupting him, and he's like, well, and the pudding thing is really big between him and Harley Quinn, his girlfriend, but he calls Muhammad Puddin'. Oh, watch this.
I'm an agent of chaos, Puddin'.
The only agent of chaos here is my detonator. But if you interrupt me again, I'm going to be an agent of pain.
That is actually the blade from Islamicize Me, used to kill Mr. Scruffles, who's scratching himself in the background. If you remember the episode where we followed the command to kill our dogs, right, Mr. Scruffles? Huh? You doing all right back there? He's looking at me. He knows what I'm talking about. That's the same blade. And there's another prop that's going to show up from Islamicize Me as well. And you guys will probably know what it is.
Oh, I love pain. I love...
So normal threats don't work with Joker because he likes the things that Muhammad talks about. And he elaborates. I think this is funny. This is a funny... The way he phrased this was excellent.
I love dead puppies and severed heads and spatter.
It's time to go back there already, actually, because he said dead puppies. I'm going to stop and talk about something in a second here.
Oh, I love pain.
All right, let's talk for a second here, ladies and gentlemen. The idea of dead puppies. Bukhari, Volume 4, number 540. Narrated Abdul bin Umar, Allah's apostle ordered that the dogs should be killed. From Abu Dawud, 2839, Abd Alabi Meghafal reported the apostle of Allah as saying, "Were dogs not a species of creature, I should command that they all be killed, but kill every pure black one." And the reason why that sounds contradictory is because for service animals and other exceptions, Muhammad would allow the dog to live. But if it's a black dog, that's not living. That's why when Beautiful Justice goes into the great kennel beyond, I'm going to grab myself a pair of Dobermans, black dogs. The Hadith note for 2839 is what it says. The Prophet did not order the killing of all the dogs, for some are to be retained for hunting and watching. He ordered to kill the jet black ones. They might be more mischievous among them. Muslim 3814, Ibn Meghafal reported, Allah's messenger ordered the killing of dogs and then said, "What is the trouble with them, the people of Medina? How dogs are nuisances to them, the citizens of Medina." He then permitted keeping of dogs for hunting and the protection of herds and for the protection of cultivated land. Notice, that means all the dogs are being killed because there's exceptions to the rule. That means the rest of them are dying. Unless they're black, then they're gone. For Muslim number 055, Ibn Meghafal reported, the messenger of Allah ordered killing of the dogs and then said, "What about them? About other dogs?" And then granted concession to keep the dog for hunting and the dog for the security of the herd and said, "When the dog licks the utensil, wash it 7 times and rub it with earth the 8th time." That's a strange part in there that's not really relevant to the skit, but come on. You clean, you wash it after. Hey, that's good advice. Wash your utensils very well after your dog licks them. I'm with that. And then rub it with dirt after you're done. That's where the hygiene advice gets real bad. Muslim 3813. Abu Zabr heard Jabir Abdullah saying, Allah's messenger ordered us to kill dogs, and we carried out this order so much that we also killed the dog roaming with the woman from the desert. So they're killing the desert woman's dog like nomads. Then Allah's apostle forbade their killing. He said, "It is your duty to kill a jet black dog having 2 spots on the eyes, for it is a devil." The jet black dog is a devil. Hey, listen to the Hadith 3814. The Hadith gives us an idea why the Prophet commanded to kill dogs. There must have been an excess of stray dogs. That's not what he says, though. It doesn't say that. In fact, they're killing one who's a pet with a desert woman. Notice the Muslim apologist note trying to excuse it, right? Hey, shout out to you, D. New, for the Canadian super chat. There must have been an excess of stray dogs, and thus the danger of rabies in the city of Medina and its suburbs. The Prophet therefore ordered to kill them. Later on, what do black dogs have to do with it, though? Well, watch. Later on, when it was found that his companions were killing them indiscriminately, he forbade them to do so. All he did is make exceptions, and told them that only the ferocious beasts which were a source of danger to life should be killed. The word devil in the hadith clarifies the point. Here, devil stands for ferocious, but that doesn't make sense. I'm talking to the note, because how is it that a black dog is specifically ferocious? Nothing about the color of the dog's fur makes it ferocious. It almost sounds racist. And also, listen to Muslim 5248, this hadith, which actually contradicts that. Ma'munah reported that one morning Allah's messenger was silent with grief. Ma'munah said, Allah's messenger, I find a change in your mood today. Allah's messenger said, Gabriel had promised me that we would meet tonight. I'm sorry, this is a little funny. But he did not meet me. So Gabriel broke a date with Muhammad. By Allah, he never broke his promises. And Allah's messenger spent the day in this sad mood. Then it occurred to him that there had been a puppy under their cot. He commanded that it was turned out. He then took some water in his hand and sprinkled it at that place. When it was evening, Gabriel met him, and he said to him, You promised me that you would meet me the previous night. He said, Yes, but we do not enter a house in which there is a dog or a pitcher. By the way, remember that, because that's going to show up later when I'm going to say images are forbidden. Or rather, I'm sorry, Muhammad is going to say images are forbidden. So a dog or a pitcher, the angel will not enter the house. Then on that very morning, he commanded the killing of the dogs until he announced that the dog kept for the orchards should also be killed. But he spared the dog meant for the protection of extensive fields or big gardens. So when we put in here dead puppies, there's literally a hadith that implies Muhammad killed puppies. Right? Do you guys see that? Yes. All right, continue on here. This is why we're doing this.
Suffering. I love dead puppies and severed heads and spattered blood and great big giant explosions.
Then you must love al-Islam.
Love it. If it had a can like Harley's, I'd marry it.
All right, that's funny. Muhammad says he loves all these awful macabre things. I'm sorry. The Joker, excuse me. I do that sometimes. If I do that, guys, correct me, please, because I won't catch myself. So the Joker says, I love all these, heinous things. And then Muhammad says, then you must love Islam, because he's basically describing Islam. That's funny. And David put this in, and he asked me, he said, is this okay to put in? I said, okay, if it's one line like that, okay, I guess we can get away with it. Because this is stuff that Joker says. Now, that doesn't mean we would put anything the Joker would say, but it expresses his sincere, deepest admiration, because the only person he, in some continuity, sort of loves is Harley, I guess. So, love it. If it had a can like Harley's, I'd marry it. So, personification of Islam there. Apparently, who has a flat backside.
Alhamdulillah. Even
now, David wanted me to put down the knife, but I was like, let me keep up the knife for a little bit, because I thought it'd be funny to do the Alhamdulillah with the detonator and the knife in the hand,
the world's greatest supervillain sees the beauty of al-Islam.
Now, see, Muhammad made a mistake there. He said the world's greatest supervillain. He left out himself, and he also left out Allah. But we'll let him pass on that, because I understand.
Oh, it's beautiful, all right. Islam is the greatest killing joke ever told. And
this soliloquy, this monologue that David wrote this, is absolutely a masterpiece. So, I don't know if you guys notice, I do humble brags, but I also try to get my credit, right? I'm in a battle with my pride like everyone else. What I mean is, I give people credit, but if I do something, I'm like, hey, I did that, right? For the most part, that's... But let me just say this. Because I'll say when I wrote a script, like the Nation of Islam script, or the Hebrew Israelite script, or the Darth Vader script, I'm like, hey, I wrote that. Or some of the scripts for Islamicize Me, the ones I wrote. Anyways, let me just stop there. David wrote this script. And when I read it, I was like, bro, there's only a few things I'm going to add to this. I'm not going to really change anything. This is a masterpiece. Right when I read the script, I already knew. He killed it. He knocked it out of the park. And when he did this monologue, I was like, whoa. The way he did it was so Joker-like and so artful and honestly so true, I was just blown away. So listen to this, guys. Listen to the masterful work here, because this is true art.
you are history's greatest comedian. That's why we love you. Just imagine an ideology that spread for 14 centuries by terrorism and torture, dismemberment and rape, seizing every little boy and girl in its path as slaves and sex slaves, piling up treasures of pilfered gold and gems, all while tearing down prior cultures, obliterating music and science and philosophy and every other form of enlightenment that stands in its way, leaving nothing but oppression and cruelty and a joyless instability wherever it scurries.
Notice how the Joker is describing it, but he's being truthful, but he's basically saying, I like this. But it's also, the Joker is notoriously known to be unreliable. You don't know his true motivations. You don't know what he's really thinking. And also, when is he serious and when is he not? He's a very sort of insincere person. So it's like, it's almost like, the way I picture this dialogue is that he knows it's bad, in a sense. Not that he really has that category properly, but yet he likes it. So he's describing it in a certain way, but he's reveling in the fact that it's true. That's the way I picture this. But if you listen to what he said, we could break down this thing and it could be a whole show. You got some interesting comments here. My man Marcus says, Vocab, I agree with your understanding about Joker being a nihilist. But have you noticed how DC changed the Joker to be against things like the Nazis? Actually, I didn't. I'm not that up to date, so I'll take your word for it. I think I've heard about that, though, if I'm not mistaken. And I think they would do the same thing for Islam. You might be right, but I wonder if the comic writers would have this courage, because I don't think they would view any form of Islam akin to Nazism. So I know what you're saying, but I feel like they wouldn't have the courage to really touch Islam. Instead, they'd probably make some Islam superhero or something. I don't know. But it's interesting. What am I doing? I need to play this. All right, here we go. Come on.
Feel like mommy dying on you all.
Hey, how'd that happen?
It's true. Applause drown, seizing every little boy. His greatest comedian. That's
Also, he says Islam is a great killing joke. So he's saying it's a joke and it kills, which is good because, you know, Joker has there's titles associated with him called the Killing Joke.
why we love you. Just imagine an ideology that spread for 14 centuries by terrorism and torture, dismemberment and rape, seizing every little boy and girl in its path as slaves and sex slaves, piling up treasures of pilfered gold and gems, all while tearing down prior cultures, obliterating music and science and philosophy and every other form of enlightenment that stands in its way, leaving nothing but oppression and cruelty and a joyless instability wherever it scurries. Only to reach the present and find politicians and journalists and educators and entertainers cheering it on, their riotous...
Notice how Muhammad agrees with that and is happy about it as well. Carm asks, is David reading from a script? Yes. We use the iPad as a teleprompter. It's actually quite simple and rather ingenious, but basically the iPad becomes a teleprompter. And then we set it up so you can't really tell. Every now and then you'll catch us. But for the most part, we've mastered it. Thank you, Dr. Funny, my man, for the super chat. He wants me to buy something nice for Mr. Scruffles because all the dog hate has to stop. I'll have you know, I just bought him a brand new water and food bowl, and they're very nice. Plus, I bought him some new supplement in his food called Dinovite that is better for his fur and his bathroom, and it's been really helping him, and his breath, actually. And also, I got him. What else did I get him recently? Oh, yeah, I spent $700 on him. But we'll get some stuff for him.
Applause drowning out the cries of its maimed and deformed victims. Humanity's love affair with Islam only proves my point. Deep down, we're all attracted to that sexy beast called chaos. I'm just the one who's honest about the attraction.
Wrong. People love me because they know that I'm the last prophet of the great God Allah.
So, the Joker's saying Islam spreads chaos, and that's why it's popular. Something like that. Because the Joker thinks everyone is as twisted as he is, basically. And there's a little bit of truth there because it's like he's like an example of total depravity and maybe even almost utter depravity in a way. But here you've got Muhammad saying, wrong. People love me because I'm the last prophet. You know what I mean? Rational Wrong Thing says the woke Joker. That'd be funny. We call him the woker. He'd be like the woke Joker. He'd always be apologizing for being white or something like that because he's, you know, white. Anyways.
Great God Allah sent me to tell everyone that they need to submit to him and that the only way they can submit to him is by obeying everything that I say about how to go to the bathroom, how often to shave your pubes, how to kill lizards and dogs and...
So the point by this is saying you got to understand the average Muslim wants to submit to God. And what happened is Muhammad says the way you submit to God is by listening to what I say to do about these things, in essence. That's why we're going after Muhammad. You see what I'm saying? Because people think by imitating Muhammad, they're submitting to God. It's a really twisted system, and that's what he's saying here. And personally, I like the actor's hand motions where he's doing all this little stuff. I kind of threw that in there.
How often to shave your pubes, how to kill lizards and dogs, and if they dedicate their entire lives to living and thinking and walking and talking and dressing and shaving and going to the bathroom exactly as I say.
On that part, just for a second, I got a little bit of slam poetish. I try to flare it a little bit. Shout out to you, Roxby, for the super chat. Roxby, you be holding it down, and everybody knows it. Thank you, and continue to hold it down.
Then the great God Allah will allow them to spend all eternity deflowering young virgins.
So, the clapping. David didn't have that originally. And I said,
to spend.
you've got to do the Heath Ledger-esque clap. You've got to. And this was, because originally he was just going to say bravo or something like that. I forgot what it was. I was like, no, this is the part where you clap. And it's cool. He put, the clap sound before he, cuts to the Joker. I like it. Melissa asks, the Arab kid from last night said something about putting Arabic subtitles in. Is that something you're planning on doing? What David does is he allows all of his videos to be edited with subtitles. We can't do that. There's no way we could do that and produce the content. But an Arabic speaker would be allowed to do that, and we hope that they do. There's a person who does it in German or on a regular basis. So I hope so.
All eternity deflowering young virgins.
Good one. Now let me try. Ladies and gentlemen, hobos and tramps, cross-eyed mosquitoes and bow-legged ants, I come before you to stand here before you to tell you a story I know nothing about. One morning, in the middle of the night, two dead fellows stood up to fight. They stood back to back, facing each other, drew...
Two dead fellows stood up to fight. They stood back to back, facing each other, drew their swords, and then shot each other. If you listen to this little tale the Joker tells, it's absolute nonsense. It's internally contradictory. It's really beautiful the way he did it. Mama wants to know why her comment was deleted. I didn't delete any comment. Sometimes YouTube actually will delete comments. It'll hold them if it thinks it was something wrong with it, but I don't know. We didn't do nothing with that. So I don't know what happened with that either.
Their swords and shot each other. If you don't believe my lie, it's true. Ask the blind lady on the corner. She saw it too. So how did I do?
How did you do what?
So the Joker is all, excited. I think the Joker, it's like he knows Muhammad's not where he is, but it's almost like he wants him to be. But it's almost like Muhammad's almost like the real version of the Joker, but he's not self-aware like the Joker is.
What you did was spout a bunch of nonsense.
Oh, that's not what we're doing?
On that part, I was like, you sound British, bro. He's like, well, if you listen to the old Joker accents, sometimes he has a slight British accent. I was like, okay. Oh, that's not what we're doing?
Thought I was a student in your masterclass on the art of homicidal comedy.
Comedy is haram.
Comedy is haram. That's it. There's the messenger of mirth we've all been waiting for.
Now, that's funny, messenger of mirth, because sometimes the Joker is called, I think, the master of mirth. So he's calling Muhammad the messenger of mirth. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. That laugh, that burst out laugh was epic. But I got to tell you, man, halfway through this, David was starting to hurt because he had to keep on doing these laughs. He had to do multiple takes of the laughs, and it really gets to you when you have to do it like that.
I'm so glad you finally got your own comedy show. You make
Comedy
the Marx
show.
Brothers look like the Brothers Grimm.
That's a clever line. I'm sure David lifted it from somewhere, but that's a clever line. Look, Marx Brothers look like the Brothers Grimm.
This is not comedy. I have been sent by the great God Allah to show people the halal and the haram and to shout Allahu Akbar as we cut off the heads of anyone who says that Islam is not a religion of peace.
You guys get it? It's more contradictory stuff without Muhammad realizing it. I have been sent, this isn't comedy. I've been sent to XYZ and chop people's heads off if they say Muhammad's Islam's not a religion of peace, which is literally what happens. And of course, he brings the knife back out for that. And this is good because Joker's like, I thought my jokes are bad. It's just such great chemistry.
And I thought my jokes were bad.
This is not a joke. I received revelations in a cave.
I'm not a fan of caves. Too many bats.
That line is from Bry from the Shy. He's my homie. He does some editing for the channel sometimes. That was his line. And so shout out to Bri from the Shy for that. Let me real quick talk a little bit about this. Most of you know this, but let's just review it. The Revelations in a Cave line. It said that 610 AD, that's a very important date to remember as you study the history of Islam. 610 AD is when the first revelation is said to have come to Muhammad. And here, the way it's described in the Islamic sources is that Muhammad was visited by Gabriel. Now, they'll refer to him as Jibril, so we can do that. Jibril. So the archangel Jibril is said to have visited Muhammad in a cave 610 AD. And what happens is he revealed to him some utterances, and these utterances or recitations would later become the Quran. The cave is supposed to be called Hira. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Hira, H-A-R-I. It's located on a mountain, Jabal an-Nur, which is near the city of Mecca. It's been calculated that it's Friday, the 17th of Ramadan at night, which would be August 6, 610. So Muhammad would have been 40 lunar years, 6 months and 12 days of age, or 39 years on the Gregorian calendar. So, according to the biographies about Muhammad, Jibril appears before him and commands him to recite these lines. And guess what? It's not Surah 1. The very first Quranic passage revealed to Muhammad is said to be chapter 96. Surah 96. So, I think that's important for everyone to know. Now, we just had a line in there because we had to sneak in some Batman stuff. And, of course, that's a great line. Like I said, Bri from the Shy killed it on that suggestion that I relayed to David. Read! This is 96.3. But before that, well, I'm sorry. I'm going to read up to 3. 96, 1 through 3. Read in the name of your Lord who had created the human from congealed blood. Read, and I swear your Lord is the most generous. Now, here's what's funny. So this is the very first surah revealed, right? It's telling Muhammad to do something he can't do. That's why we put the gag in there that says, as everyone knows, I can't read. You know what I mean? And then the very next line of the beginning of the Quran, which is Surah 96, is wrong. Humans are not created from congealed blood. Or if you look at the Arabic, it could even be thought of like a leech-like clot. Man, according to Scripture, was created out of mud, Eve out of one of the ribs of Adam, and their children were created from the commingling of the two. So basically, the very first verse of the Quran is wrong. Just want to go ahead and bring that out. So I'm not going to read too much more about the cave, but I will show you this, which is Surah 53, which speaks about this event. It is no less than inspiration sent to him. He was taught by one mighty in power, endued with wisdom, for he appeared in stately form, while he was in the highest part of the horizon. Then he approached and came closer, and was at a distance of but 2 bow lengths, or even nearer. That's in the Quran. That's Surah 53, 4 through 9. It speaks of the event of Muhammad's experience in the cave. And, he brings up the revelations of the cave, and Joker makes a great quip back.
How can I make it any more clear to you that I am not joking?
Wait, are you telling me that you're serious about this? I had the utmost respect for Islam when I thought of it as some sort of cosmic killing joke. And I loved you to death when I regarded you as the world's first homicidal comedian. But if you're saying that you're actually serious about Islam, why, you must be crazier than I am.
I'm not crazy.
Now, some people didn't like this part, okay? I get it. But it's really necessary. Sometimes you do stuff that will seem annoying, but it's important that it's done. So this lasts about a minute, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to stop it each time and read from the study Quran the line, and I'm interested to see how they translate it. This is all in the sources. So I know some people were annoyed by this. We had people complain, but we need to do this, okay? This is important. This is important.
Islam, why? You must be crazier than I am.
I'm not crazy. The great God Allah declares again and again in the Quran that I'm not crazy. In Surah 7, verse 184, Allah...
That reminds me of the Big Bang Theory. Whenever the other cast members would say to Sheldon, you know, you're crazy, and he would always say, I'm not crazy, my mother had me tested, right? You know what I'm saying?
I'm not crazy. In Surah 7, verse 184.
All right, I'm in 7, and I'm going to 184 in the study Quran. We need to look at these, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's quite shocking when you put them all together and realize, whoa, that's a lot of affirmation. Thou dost protest too much. So Surah 7, 184 reads, Have they not reflected? There is no madness in their companion. He is not but a clear warner. And of course, the study Quran recognizes their companion is a reference to Muhammad. The statement, there is no madness in him, is a rebuttal of the Meccans' claim that he was mad, or literally possessed by jinn, Majnun. You hear that? You hear that? According to one report, the Prophet had been atop the hill of Safa calling to each clan among the Quraysh and warning them of God's punishment. Someone in the crowd remarked that he seemed possessed, raising his voice in warning all night long. This verse was then revealed in response. Notice how reactive the Quran is. Have you ever noticed that? It's very reactive.
Allah says that there is no madness in me. In Surah 15, verse 6,
Surah 15, verse 6. Surah 15, verse 6. I need to turn on another light in here if I'm going to be doing this reading. This is not the ideal way to do it. Surah 15, verse 6. But I think it's important to hammer this in. Okay, ready? And they say, O unto you whom the reminder has been sent down, truly you are possessed. So they're saying, hey, you're supposed to be giving us a reminder. Well, you really just seem like you're possessed. Right?
Believers call me crazy, but Allah knows that I'm not crazy. In Surah 17, verse 47,
1747. We're basically kind of going here in alphabetical order. You guys probably caught that as well, too. 1747? Yeah. The study Quran has all these notes in it, and so it takes a little bit longer to get through than your average Quran. Okay. It says this, we know best that which they listen for when they listen to thee, and when they converse in secret, when the wrongdoers say, you follow not but a man bewitched. So, there you go with that as well, saying he's bewitched. A mad poet.
Believers say I am bewitched, but Allah knows that I'm not bewitched. In Surah 23, verse 70,
Surah 23, verse 70. You guys can just look at David's wonderful visage. What is it, 2370? Is that right, everybody? Okay. We are proving the point, I think, here. Okay, 2370. Or do they say, he is possessed? Rather, he has brought them the truth, but most of them are averse to the truth.
Allah says that I'm not possessed. In Surah 25, verse 8, the unbelievers...
25, verse 8. 25, verse 8. 25, verse 8 says... Or no treasure cast into him, or no garden for him from which to eat. And the wrongdoers say, you follow not, but a man bewitched. Yeah, all right.
Didn't say that I'm bewitched, but Allah knows that I'm not bewitched. In Surah 34, verse 8, Allah
34 verse 8. So, you know, we're going through it, but I'm showing you that it's literally in here. And I know it's tedious, but I'm just showing you that. And of course, you know, he also had to be convinced by Jibril not to commit suicide. He has fabricated a lie against God, or is he possessed? Nay, but those who believe not in the hereafter shall be in punishment and extreme error. So they basically thought that Muhammad was under the influence of the jinn.
again says that there's no madness in me. In Surah 34, verse 46, Allah says yet again,
34, verse 46. All right. Say, I exhort you unto one thing only, that you stand for God in pairs or singly, and then reflect. There is no madness in your companion. He is not but a warner unto you before a severe punishment. There is no madness in him.
that there's no madness in me. In Surah 37, verses 36 to 37,
37, verses 36. Notice that Joker's enjoying this, and David's zooming in on his face. Wait, what is it? 37. Oh yeah. Saying, are we to forsake our gods for a poet possessed? So they're calling him a mad poet.
Allah says that I'm not an insane poet. In Surah 44, verse 14, the
44:14. 44:14. 44:14. Don't worry, this will be the only time that this goes down, but it's important to do this. All right, 44:14 reads, then they turned away from him and said, he is taught, possessed. Meaning, they're saying that he was just basically repeating words that he learned from somewhere else. That's what it's saying as far as he is taught. And you know, one of Muhammad's nicknames was the ear, so that's probably a true criticism.
believers again call me a madman, but Allah knows that I'm not a madman. In Surah 52, verse 29, Allah
52:29. 52:29. By the way, if you have not hit the like button yet, will you please hit the like button? This is the perfect time to do it. And also introduce yourself in the live chat. If you're lurking, go ahead and introduce yourself. On a day when the sky churns with great... that's not right. 52:9? I hope we didn't get one of our references wrong.
madman. In Surah 52, verse 29, Allah
Oh, okay, I heard it wrong. It's 29. So, yeah. So remind, for thou art not by the blessing of thy Lord a soothsayer or one possessed.
me once more that I'm not crazy. In Surah 68, verse 2, Allah
68 verse 2. Notice with the acting, we try to have Muhammad get increasingly frantic as he went on. It escalates. Thou art not, by the blessing of thy Lord, possessed.
reminds me again that I'm not crazy. In Surah 68, verse 51, the unbelievers
68:51 reads, indeed, those who disbelieve would well nigh smite thee down with their glances when they hear the reminder saying, surely he is possessed.
again call me a madman, but Allah knows that I'm not a madman. And in Surah 81, verse 22,
81 verse 22. Doesn't it seem like some of the Meccans' criticism of Muhammad may be legitimate? I'm just saying. Your companion is not possessed. Now remember, we don't believe that Muhammad is receiving real revelations from God. That means Muhammad is fabricating revelations about himself to say to others that he's not crazy.
Says one more time that I'm not crazy. How many times does the great God Allah have to say I'm not crazy before you'll finally understand I'm not crazy?
Now, I thought this was funny. Right after he says I'm not crazy, look what he does.
So your God
I'm not crazy.
has to remind you over and over again, like a beating drum, that you don't belong in Arkham Asylum?
Oh, that's my contribution. He just said something like, originally in the script was just like, oh, that you're not a madman. I said something like that. I was like, no, let's make it specific. Let's make it specific. Let's make it that you don't belong in Arkham Asylum. That is one of my contributions to the script.
Peace be upon me.
And you and your followers would memorize these revelations and recite them regularly?
Peace be upon me.
I have to say, Mosey, you're only
Notice the nicknames that he gives him. It's kind of funny, right?
proving my point. What kind of sane person needs to be relentlessly reminded that he's not bat-crap crazy?
That was another contribution. I forget what he said originally, but he said something like, "What just reminded that you're not crazy." And I was like, man, people use that phrase, bat-ish crazy. I was like, we got to insert that as just a slight nod to the Batman stuff, right? So we went with bat-crap crazy. I thought it was good.
What sort of sane prophet needs his followers to constantly recite verses claiming that he's not stark raving mad?
Stop trying to convince me that I'm crazy. If I'm crazy, why do I have 1.6 billion followers? Why?
Now, that is an argument that a Muslim would make about the success of Islam and talk about how fast it's growing.
Is Al-Islam the world's fastest growing religion?
You're still proving my point, Mosey. See, there's no difference between us and everyone else. All it takes is one bad day to reduce the same.
Notice how he puts himself in the category with Muhammad. They're in the same category. Now, this is a common thing they got the Joker saying in what's called the DCAU, the DC Animated Universe, or sometimes the DC, I think, MU, the DC, DCAMU, DC Animated Movie Universe. And so, oh, look, here's a Hebrew Israelite joining us, James Jackson, totally off topic, that's okay. And I don't know why he's using the letter J when everybody knows the letter J didn't exist until 500 years ago. James Jackson says, why won't you talk about fake Jews and Catholic rapists? So, James, here we are talking about Islam. The most sensitive religion to critique. And people have died for criticizing Muhammad during his time and during our day. And yet James Jackson is still not happy. He wants us to talk about fake Jews and Catholic rapists. Hey, James Jackson, if you think those things should be talked about, then why don't you make some videos about fake Jews and Catholic rapists? You're not my executive producer. You don't fund the channel. You don't sponsor it. I don't understand why you think you have a say to demand about what kind of content should be discussed in this channel. Do you go on other people's channel and tell them what to do? So why don't you just do that on your channel? Someone checks out James' channel and see what kind of videos he's putting out. I'd be really curious what kind of videos James is producing. My guess is he doesn't really produce that much. Sorry, I had to go there. I love you, man.
This man alive.
Oh, hold on, James, one more time. You talk about everybody but Esau. Well, James, according to you, right now I'm talking about Ishmael. Won't that make you happy? And besides, the Joker's an Edomite. I mean, look how white his skin is,
To utter lunacy. That's how far the world is from where I am. Just one bad day.
And in the Killing Joke cartoon, which I actually do not recommend watching, first of all, I think it's way overrated and it's totally inappropriate. I was shocked at the level of where they've taken the cartoons. They're trying to be all cool and edgy, but I don't like it. It's I don't really like it what they do. But in that Joker, they show the Joker's bad day. It's a possible origin story, basically. And, they, yeah.
You had a
Anyways.
bad day once, am I right? I know I am. I can tell. You had a bad day and everything changed. Why else would you run around calling yourself God's final prophet and slaughtering it?
This is basically the Joker's speech to Batman at the end of that comic cartoon movie. The words have just been altered.
One who disagrees with you. You had a bad day, and it drove you as crazy as me.
You're right, Roxby. That would have been a good place to maybe say as batty as me. And thank you, Roxby, by the way, for the super chat. You are really destroying me on the freestyles. I'm overwhelmed. Well, Nathan Walsh says you must like Batman to know all this. Well, sort of. Nathan, I basically researched this for the role. I know that sounds funny, especially since I was Muhammad, but since I'm involved in the creative process, I actually researched all this. So this is not stuff I knew already. So almost everything I'm telling you is because of this video. You'd be surprised how much work goes into a single video. So, for example, I bought this collected edition of comics called Joker, His Greatest Jokes, and it's some classic Joker, of course the Batman and Robin are in most of them, comics, and, it goes all the way back to the 60s and even older up until now, and a lot of it's really twisted, so sort of, it's just part of the process, you know what I mean?
You won't admit it. You have to keep pretending that life makes sense, that there's some point to all your struggling. You make me want to puke. Come on, tell me. What made you the way you are? Girlfriend trampled to death by a camel, maybe? Brother carved up and eaten by some tribe of cannibals? I know it was something like that. Because something like that happened to me. And I went crazy.
Something like that did happen to me.
So we really changed the tone right here, where the Joker's sort of analysis of Muhammad hits him kind of spot on or whatever, and I think it's interesting. All right, James Jackson, still way off topic, but what else do we expect from our Hebrew Israelite friends? You devils take care of the fake Jews. That happened in Germany, but won't pay what you devils did to us. Oh, and you're using bad words? Guys, let's put James Jackson on timeout for using naughty words. Maybe you can come back and have a little more manners next time you speak. We don't mind you disagreeing with us, James Jackson, but you're not allowed to use naughty words. And so you're on timeout, and maybe when you come back, you can control your anger a little bit more. Embrace adulthood by controlling your tongue, because you're being very, very naughty right now. Shout out to Liza J with the super chat. I support Vocab Malone's channel, sharing the gospel and sharing the truth about Islam and exposing the lies of Hebrew Israelites. If you haven't yet purchased Vocab's book, link in bio. It's excellent and concise. Thank you, Liza. That's quite a... I really appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, what is this? Hold on, sorry. I know it's really off topic. Hey, Vocab, GOCC was blasting you today. You got them fired up. They talk as a trash, saying they refuse to debate you because you're not worthy. I never asked them to debate. Not that I remember, anyway. Thanks for the light you shine on them. Al, I did not know that. I got to tell you guys, I really rely on you guys. The Street Apologist squad are the eyes and the ears and the fingers, of this channel. So, Al, will you please send me that link on my social media? Instagram at Vocab Malone, Facebook.com/Vocab Malone, Twitter at Vocab Malone, Snapchat. I can't access that one. I don't know what's giving me problems. So right now I just have at the Street Apologist or at Street Apologist. I forget. email, vocabmalone@gmail, or the streetapologist@gmail.com. Whatever else is out there. Will you please send me that link? I want to check this out. Thank you. I didn't know that. That's interesting, Al. Sorry it's off topic, but that's important. All right, keep going on.
Something like that did happen to me. Many times, in fact. My father, he died before I was born. My mother...
Rejection, abandonment, doesn't
I ever had as a child.
and I went crazy.
All right, so here we get into Muhammad's childhood biography. David did a 3-part series called The Psychology of Islam that's very interesting and insightful. Even if you don't agree with everything, it's fascinating to think and talk about. And we kind of get into that right here. And in a way, it makes you feel sorry for Muhammad, you know? And I think it's important to watch. Brian says, please, oh please, have Ben Shapiro on. So we have a gag for Ben Shapiro in mind, but I'm not going to tell you what it is because it would totally spoil it, but I think it's such a funny idea. We already have it. It was my idea, but I think it'd be epic if he ever decides to do it.
Something like that did happen to me. Many times, in fact. My father, he died before I was born. My mother, she sent me away to live with a family of Bedouins in the desert. After a few years, the Bedouins got scared of me. They thought I was demon-possessed. Pretty normal childhood, I suppose.
Gotta stop there. That's my inclusion, and I have not found anybody yet who appreciates the line. Does anybody out there in the audience remember Austin Powers, the scene where they're doing like a counseling with a counselor who is Carrie Fisher, by the way? Thank you, Rockspeed, for the super chat. Oh my goodness. I don't even know what to say to you anymore. Seriously, but thank you. And in this counseling session, Dr. Evil breaks down a little bit about his childhood, and it's abusive. And after he's just said all this really bizarre stuff, I don't remember the exact line, but it's something like, when I was put in burlap bags and beaten with PVC pipes. Pretty normal childhood, I suppose. He says all this bizarre stuff and then says he had a pretty normal childhood. It's a funny line. And I had a friend when I was younger who would always imitate that line. He would imitate that speech, and he would always say that line. And so it always goes in my head because I thought it was the funniest thing, more so the way my friend did it than even the actual movie, although it's still funny. And I was like, we've got to put that in here. Muhammad's talking about a really traumatic childhood. And I thought it'd be funny because I want to have Muhammad meet Dr. Evil, by the way. Okay, so that's why I wanted to throw that in there. There's another Dr. Evil line in here, but I forgot what it is.
After a few years, the Bedouins got scared of me. They thought I was demon-possessed. Pretty normal childhood, I suppose. So my desert family sent me back to my mother. For a brief time, I was happy. Then she got sick and died, too. I was only 6 years old, which is the same age that Aisha was when she married me. My grandfather, he tried to take care of me, but he died 2 years later. Every mother figure and every father figure I ever had as a child was stripped away from me by the time I was 8 years old. Guess you never really recover fully from something like that.
Let me get this straight. Behind all the harams and halals and Allahu Akbars, you're just a little boy in a prophet costume crying for mommy and daddy. Would be funny if it weren't so pathetic. Oh, what the heck. I'll laugh anyway.
Stop laughing at me!
Haven't you ever heard of the healing power of laughter?
Okay, that is a Joker line. Do you remember that in 1989 Batman, Jack Nicholson is speaking to the Gotham Mafia? And to make the deal, he shakes the guy's hand and it electrocutes him. He burns up. And the Joker, Jack Nicholson, says, "Haven't you ever heard of the healing power of laughter?" That line is from that there.
at me! Stop it! I can't stand it when people laugh at me! Do you have any idea how many people I've killed simply for laughing at me?
So originally David had the Joker, or kind of like Muhammad was breaking down more, and we do have him breaking down here. But I said you got to include that he killed a bunch of people for laughing at him. And at one point in the script, I was going to have him throw in the names of all the people we've killed, of how he hates comedy and all the people that made fun of him. There's an article on it you can read on Answering Islam called Muhammad's Dead Poet Society. But that's a true fact, even though we didn't put a reference there.
Oh, mockery, rejection, abandonment. Does it feel like mommy dying on you all over again? Oh, come on, Mosey. When I saw what a dark, awful joke this world is, I went crazy as a coot. And I admit it. Why can't you? Just look around and see the reality of the situation. It's all a joke. Everything anybody ever valued or waged jihad for, it's all a monstrous, demented gag. So why can't you see the funny side? Why aren't you laughing? Why so serious?
I think that was my idea too. The why so serious. He had the thing, but it's like, you got to say why so serious there. Yeah, that was my idea. The script is David's. I'm just telling you my little additions. I like that touch of Muhammad wiping his tears with his headgear. I'm sorry, that's funny.
Well, looks like I can cross watch a grown man cry off my Christmas list.
I guess I can cross off watch a grown man cry off Christmas list. The reason why we had it in there is to set up this joke, and I don't know if everyone caught it. It's funny. This is David's idea. So while he's crying, he goes, Christmas is haram, because the Joker the Joker says Christmas. Now, before he says it, why is Christmas considered haram? Haram means forbidden or impermissible. Because Christmas celebrates, under an Islamic understanding, the incarnation. They view the incarnation of Christ as the best example of Christians' idolatrous fascination of shirk, meaning they view it as a celebration of Christians celebrating the fact that they associate partners with Allah. That's the way they would see it. And so that's a horrible thing to do. So there's a video, actually, I think that I've got on the channel, where a guy says that Christmas is worse. Saying Merry Christmas is worse than murdering somebody. So check it out. Catch it now, everyone.
Well, looks like I can cross watch a grown man cry off my Christmas list. Thanks, Mosey. Christmas is haram. You've got to break them down before you build them up.
This is funny. If you watch this again after this commentary, I bet you'll laugh more.
Christmas is haram. You've got...
Okay, again, David's line, you got to break him down before you build him up. But he just said it normal. He was like, break him down before you build it up. I was like, no, don't do it that way. Do it with a false exuberance. I was like, don't, do the literal, like, you got to break him down before you build him up. Don't do that. You got to break him down before you build him up. And it's funny, after he did it and he watched it, he was laughing at the take because it's so sarcastic and disingenuous. It really seemed like the Joker all the way.
Break him down before you build him up. Now, let's put a smile on that.
Uh-oh, special effects. See the green mist? Conman Mike in the building, everybody. Conman Mike did that. So shout out to Conman Mike for the special effects.
What was that?
It's a little concoction I call Joker venom.
So this is a real thing. The Joker has Joker venom. Makes people laugh, kills them if he wants to, kind of thing. So David had that together, right? But I said, yo, You got to do an extended, uncomfortable, awkward scene. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, we did it before. I forgot what it was with Muhammad. I forget which character, where he's like staring at the person for a while and it's like silent and it's really uncomfortable, but I thought it was really funny. It's like, we've got to do that with the Joker again. So check this out. I love this scene of the Joker waiting for the Joker venom to kick in. Before it happens, I think it's funny.
It'll make you feel better. Read the small print for the side effects.
Why are you telling me to read the small print? Small print, large print, font size doesn't matter because, as everyone knows, I can't read.
Wait for it. What's so funny?
I just remembered something.
Tell me.
I just remembered that I got my followers to drink camel urine.
Okay, so I'm in the way of it, but it says Bukhari 6802. We're running out of time, but I actually brought it before the show started. A whole bunch of articles about camel urine in the Islamic world. So the World Health Organization, who actually recently, when I say recently, I mean within the past number of years, put out an advisory to tell people to stop drinking camel urine. And on Instagram, there is a post that went viral of, I think, an Indonesian cleric, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm saying the wrong country. Now, I forget what country it was. I don't want to bring all this up right now. You can just put camel urine, Muslim world, something like that, and you're going to find articles where he mixes together camel's milk and camel urine and drinks it and encourages other people to do the same. And you can find video after video, translated and untranslated, where you'll find conservative Muslim clerics speaking about the health benefits of drinking camel urine. This is not a joke, by the way. When we first got into this, I actually talked to a number of my Middle Eastern Christian friends to ask him about this. And he said, yeah, it's something Muslims do, especially when they get sick. So, now the Joker venom is working on Muhammad. So he is talking about jokes that's making him laugh. Oh, Professor 2 says you have to run. You're dealing with pneumonia. Well, hey, I do hope you could be a Patreon soon, too. Appreciate that. Nate will give you the link for that. And if you're dealing with pneumonia, just drink some camel urine. Duh. All right, so keep on going here.
Got my followers to drink camel urine.
Here's another good one. Think of it. The two of us, me and you, trying to find meaning in a meaningless world. Why be a disfigured outcast when I can be the clown prince of crime? Why be an orphaned boy when you can be a prophet? What a joke!
I know. How about a magic trick?
All right. I love this sequence to death, okay? So this is based off of the Heath Ledger Joker in The Dark Knight, where what's happening is the Joker is supposed to be a master of predicting human behavior, which is interesting considering he thinks everyone's like, as bad as he is. What happens is Heath Ledger says, how about a magic trick? Watch me make this pencil disappear. When he sneaks into the meeting with the crime element of Gotham to make a proposal to them. Everyone, and it's sort of a gruesome scene because he rams the guy's head down into the pencil, and kills the guy or whatever. It's probably some kind of special pencil, I imagine, right? So the point by that is, this Muhammad says, how about a magic trick? So they're yucking it up right now because of the Joker venom. And instead of the pencil disappearing, it's going to be verses from the Quran disappear, abrogation, which I do credit myself for this as well. I told you I struggle with pride like everybody. I came up with the line abracadabragation. And when I came up with that, I thought I was the freaking man, and I was in love with it to death. And I still am to this day, and that should become internet gold, and everybody should totally repeat that. Well, Nate, the reason I say kills a guy or whatever is because I don't think it's 100% guaranteed that the guy died from that injury, But here we go.
Ooh, I know. How about a magic trick?
Life's been good to me.
Notice there David talks and does the Jack Nicholson smile. I want everyone to watch this carefully because the life's been good to me line is from the 1989 Batman. And I was like, why are you saying that? He said, that's my way of saying yes, because he's saying he's glad. Because if you watch the scene where Jack Nicholson, Joker in 1989, has the meeting with the Gotham Mafia, they're like, why are you smiling so much? What's with the stupid smile? They asked the Joker. This is before they really knew who he was. And he goes, life's been good to me. And David channels Jack Nicholson amazingly. Watch this closely.
Magic trick.
Life's been good to me.
I'm going to make some of these verses disappear. Ta-da! Abrogation!
That's epic. Yes, you can share this. Anybody could take this video, put it on their channel. Watch this line, though. This is beautiful.
Abracadabragation! See, Muhammad, there's nothing wrong with being crazy. It's being sane that's the problem.
Don't call me crazy. That's...
So now we pulled your leg a little bit. We made it seem like Muhammad is getting mad at the Joker, but really he's still on the Joker venom and his sense of humor is coming out. David directed me on the scene about how to do it, and he played it perfectly. I love the way he had me do it at the end.
not even politically correct. We prefer to be called differently sane. Differently sane.
All right.
Okay, here it comes. Here it comes. If you watch closely, the physics of the scene are a little bit messed up because the flower actually goes downward. It doesn't go straight up. But to actually get the spray of water into Muhammad's mouth, we had to use a spray bottle for the effect. And so if you watch it, it kind of goes like this, but when it cuts, it's going up. So there's a little bit of physics that are messed up in this scene, but I love this scene. And this also was my idea. He just talked about, we'll have the Joker flower squirt. I was like, no. I was like, yo, if you do that, you've got to have the scene where Muhammad's like getting his beard all wet from it, and he's like lapping it up. It was totally in my mind. And I said, and then he's like, what is that? It's camel urine. He's like, oh, hit me again. So I did make some contributions. The differently saying, though, Liza, I think, is the Joker actually said that to somebody in a comic book or cartoon David was telling me about. So he's the one who knew that. I think that's from the Joker's mouth, but we have Muhammad say it.
So you liked one flower. Care to smell the other?
I love this part. So funny. It just looks funny, though. Who cares about the incongruity, right? It looks funny. Now, we had to do the scene last, of course, because Muhammad's beard gets all wet.
Hey, what was that?
Camel pee?
That is the actual bottle of camel pee we used for Islamicize Me. Believe it or not, I still have it in the refrigerator. That's the exact bottle with our writing on it and everything that we use as a prop. That's the same one, ladies and gentlemen. What goes around comes around.
Oh, I love Camel camel pee. Hit me again, Puddin'.
The Joker's classic camel pee prank.
Like that's a real thing. That's so funny. It's insane. Now, obviously, it's just water, everybody, okay? It's just water, just so everybody knows. But it's so funny. And we did this 2 or 3 times, and David was laughing so much. Because the water was getting in my mouth too much, so I started basically gargling it. I was like, and I was like, ooh, this is really gross. Like, it was funny, it was making me laugh, but I was like, this scene's gonna be gross. Oh no, Melissa, the fridge has been cleaned out numerous times. I've kept it on purpose. That's a permanent souvenir.
Speaking of pranks, do you know who the greatest prankster in the history of forever is? The great God Allah.
Really? So this Allah of yours is the great god of gags?
He's the best. In the Quran, he brags about being the best of deceivers, and he.
So there, the references are on the screen. I'm trying to keep this under 2 hours, so I'm not going to look those up right now. But there is debate. Muslim apologists will sometimes debate the translation of those verses. There's a big back and forth online, so I'm telling you that in advance. But I encourage you to look up about it because it does speak to Allah's character. The reason why I haven't thrown it away is for moments like this, guys.
Disappoint. He once tricked the Jews.
Oh, by the way, hear that?
Quran, he brags about being the best of deceivers, and he doesn't disappoint.
Heath Ledger said that the Batman in Dark Knight, he says, and you didn't disappoint. So that's what that line is from.
He once tricked the Jews into thinking that they had crucified Jesus when they didn't. The prank was so epic, even Jesus' followers thought he was crucified, and they ended up building a religion around the crucifixion. Billions of Christians now believe that Jesus died on the cross because Allah did the best prank ever.
So Allah started Christianity as a gag?
This is actually a pretty deep point if you think about it. Muslims claim that Allah made the Jews, well, this is from the Quran itself, think they crucified Jesus, but they didn't. So because of that, think about then who's responsible for the deception of Christianity from the Islamic perspective. It's Allah himself.
That's brilliant!
Who else could ever trick that many people? But he didn't just prank Jews and Christians. He even pranks Muslims. Even me! He tricked us into marching out into the Battle of Badr by giving me a dream, convincing me and my followers that we wouldn't be outnumbered. When we got there, we were totally outnumbered! Oh, that's crazy!
This is funny. Notice David is cross-eyed here. He said he didn't do that on purpose. He was just looking a certain way, and when we played it back, it looked actually worse than the face he was making. But I noticed, I was like, oh, you're cross-eyed right now. I was like, but that's good, keep it. But it's like he didn't even know until we're done. It's kind of funny.
Allah, always tricking his prophet and his followers. My closest companion, Abu Bakr, once said that if he had 1 foot in paradise, he would still fear Allah's deception. Now there's a man who finally realized what it means to worship an omnipotent prankster. Can you imagine? You've got 1 foot in Jannah, you see all your virgins lined up, but you're still worried that Allah is just tricking you and he's just about to yell, "Psych!" and send you into the fiery pits of hell. Oh, Allah truly is the best of all deceivers.
Now, that point is actually true. Elton Simpson, who I knew him as Ibrahim, who died in a jihadist attack, was here from Phoenix. During one of our conversations while he was yet still alive, I brought this up to him, although not as eloquent as the script. But I brought up that basic point to him, and he said, yeah. And I was like, don't you see the problem with that? There's no security in your religion. He's like, Christians are arrogant. They think they know they're going to go to heaven. Muslims are humble. So he lauded Abu Bakr's totally, uncertain feeling about if he would, where he was going to go, Jannah or Hellfire. S. Draper, no, there wasn't a jihad attack in Phoenix. My friend, actually, Elton, left and drove from Phoenix to Texas to attempt to commit a terroristic attack, and he died in the process. This happened in 2015. Just look up the cartoon drawing contest put on by Robert Spencer and Pamela Geller. You'll find it.
Starting to like this Allah.
I'm telling you, he's the best of all deceivers.
Wait a minute. It all makes sense now. You're not the comedian here. You're the joke. Allah is the comedian.
So this is deep. If you really look at what's being said here, the way David put this together was quite fascinating. It's as if, as the Joker understands Muhammad and Islam better, he's able to make better analogies and metaphors with comedy, because that's really his main way he looks at things, this kind of grim, dark comedy. And so his final illustration is quite fascinating.
A cosmic, omnipotent, omniscient prankster! And you're his magnum opus.
I don't know what magma opioids are, but I
Magma opioids.
like it.
So, the great God Allah, as the supreme trickster of the universe, is either the ultimate agent of chaos, or he's chaos itself, trying to recreate the world in his own image.
Images are forbidden.
So we have this gag. Now, if I tell you some of these tricks, I'm almost worried because you guys will kind of know some of our tricks. Where when there's a chance for Muhammad to sort of misunderstand or interject things, we'll put it in there. So, Christmas is Haram, even though he's crying. So he'll take the most inopportune times and do that. And here now, Joker's talking about image in a different sense, but Muhammad just hears the word images and says images are forbidden. By the way, you can look that up as well. The most conservative Muslim fatwas, that's a ruling of modern-day application to modern-day life. That's one way to define it. By imam jurists, the most conservative ones, their fatwas state that photography is forbidden. Obviously, not all Muslims agree with that, but because they're images. Remember, Jibril would not enter Muhammad's house if there was an image present. Remember that.
Omniscient prankster! And you're his magnum opus.
I don't know what magma opioids are, but I like it.
So, the great God Allah, as the supreme trickster of the universe, is either the ultimate agent of chaos, or he's chaos itself, trying to recreate the world in his own image.
Now that's interesting because Islam historically has not been the best at producing societies that create. Now, I used to buy the line that Islam had a golden era that it essentially produced. I think you can still use the phrase the golden era of Islam or something like that, but as I've come to learn about it further, what it appears, and I'm always willing to change my mind on this, it appears the so-called golden era of Islam or Islam's golden age was actually a product of their conquering new lands, acquiring new territories, and the intellectual and artistic abilities of the peoples of those lands. And this is during a time where the rulers were a little more worldly in their Islamic rulership, so they mixed Sharia at a mild form along with sort of classical kingdoms. And so the liberal arts and things like that and intellectual traditions weren't totally vanquished. And so they would want the best and the brightest to be in their court, somewhat similar, within boundaries, of course, to the Persians or the Babylonians of old, who would take the best and the brightest of the young men, such as Daniel and his friends. And so my point is that Islam's golden age is actually just simply they're acquiring other people and then keeping them around. Now, I'm not saying that, and remember, I recently said, actually yesterday, that we sometimes underestimate the level of intellect within the Islamic community. It's a large community, and there's a lot of smart people, and there are legitimate things that have been produced out of there, but I'm just kind of fleshing that out. My point is, he's saying here, the Joker, hey, agent of chaos. Islam is the agent of chaos. Islam has been seen to be very excellent at tearing down other structures because it's always easier to destroy than to build. But what happens is after they finish doing that, they end up fighting each other. ISIS conquers the area, and then they kill all the Muslims who don't agree with him. That kind of thing. I could go on and on. Shout out to Act 17 Apologetics, everybody. David Wood is in the chat.
Images are forbidden.
The great God Allah is an artist. He sent you to disfigure humanity.
Notice how he touches his own disfigured visage there. David, since the show is almost done, I know usually you just come in and joke around. There's 3 minutes left of the video. Any commentary you have to add is very appreciated. Anything you put on the screen that's legit, besides just saying, Vocab, your show is boring or you're an idiot or something like that, I'll put up there and share because it's always good to hear the different things you have to say.
Down to its very core, Allah wants to paint the whole world crazy. Now there's a God who's worthy of worship.
Notice how just twisted this whole line of argumentation is.
So you're ready to convert to Al-Islam?
So Muhammad's all excited. And here's where the conversation goes left. Notice they've been getting along rather famously for the most part in this conversation. It's been quite an emotional roller coaster, hasn't it? Right? Oh, there David brings up one point before I play this next line. Funny that we do these parts without even rehearsing. So that's true. So David was working on his laugh a little bit in the car, he was telling me, but he had to stop because his voice started getting stripped. But I think he had kind of had the basic idea of the Mark Hamill laugh down. But what happened is he had never really done the voice publicly. So he had kind of worked on the laugh, never done it. And when he's got the makeup on, he's like, hey, I've never done my... He starts telling me how he's never done it before. We hit record, and he does it, and right away, it was perfect. And I don't remember the exact conversation, so if my recollection is wrong, but it was something like, he was kind of like, is that okay? Is that good? I haven't done it. I was like, bro, you got it on your first take. That's it. Now, I think we did a couple more takes of that first line, but basically, the first time he did it, he had it. It's crazy. It was dope.
Oh, I'm ready to do more than convert. Watch this.
Here's where it goes left, because watch what happens. He says, I'm ready to do more than convert. This is pretty funny and pretty crazy, and just, I love it. Just look at that picture. It is classic, and shout out to Bry from The Shy. He's the one who gave us the idea of the strap of grenades. That's a very Joker-esque thing, the green grenades. He does a version of that with the string in Dark Knight. We've got it here. So he's almost like Muhammad's character now. And with the green beard, which is like for a leprechaun. But it just looks beautifully twisted and weird, doesn't it?
I am the prophet of the great God and best comedian and prankster and deceiver ever, the great God Allah!
What is this? I cannot tell you how many times when we're recording, we sit there and say, what's wrong with us? And this is one of those times. We sit there and ask each other, what is wrong with us? No normal person would do this.
Hey, that's not funny, even with the Joker venom.
Pump your brakes there, Mosey. There's a new prophet in town.
Well, then,
I have the beard. There's a new prophet in town.
this town needs an enema.
Okay, that's a line I wanted to get in there. I was like, we've got to get that line in there somewhere. So when he said something about, there's a new prophet or something, I was like, oh, say there's a new prophet in town. And then the Joker does the Jack Nicholson classic line, when the Joker says about Gotham, this town needs an enema, which is a great line, right? And so check this out. Oh, David mentions how we're probably going to do a roast when we hit 50 episodes. We've talked about that.
Even with the Joker venom.
Pump your brakes there, Mosey. There's a new prophet in town.
Well, then this town needs an enema.
Careful! The clown prince of prophets doesn't take kindly to being serious. Now, as your prophet, I order you to start laughing!
You're lying! You think that just because you're the only person in history who's whiter than I am, you get to be a prophet? Allah told me I'm his final prophet.
Oh, really?
So that's a shout out to Bry from the Shy. He said we got to have something in there where Muhammad comments about how the Joker is whiter than he is. Because the sources, of course, describe Muhammad as white. So it's a funny thing. Muhammad's like noticing, saying, just because you're whiter than I am doesn't mean you get to be a prophet.
God who brags about being the best of all deceivers, a God who even deceived you to get you to march into battle, that God told you that you're his final prophet, and you believed him? Tell me, Mosey, you ever danced with the devil by the crescent moonlight?
Okay, this is my line, okay? This is probably the line I am most proud of in this whole thing. Now, the inspiration from the line came from, again, Bry from the Shy. So shout out to my man, okay? Bry from the Shy. He said something about this line. I think he had the essence of the line, so I don't remember. I think I only made a few changes. Maybe it's more his line than mine. Anyways, he said something about the pale moonlight and with the dancing is haram, and I don't remember if he had the devil in there, but I tweaked it a little bit, and it's so epic because Jack Nicholson, before he, does certain things, there's 2 times in the '89 Batman, he says, "You ever dance with the devil by the pale moonlight?" It's like, have you ever had a tangle with somebody like me in this situation, is kind of what he's saying. And so the Joker says to Muhammad, have you ever danced with the devil by the crescent moonlight? And I love the way we had Muhammad answer, yes, and he looks like a black man. Because according to the sources, Muhammad says that the devil looks like a black man. And then he says, that's before I realized dancing was haram. It's so funny. I just think this is so funny.
Dancing was haram.
Oh, did I skip it? Hold on. I got to play you this. I love this line so much.
By the crescent moonlight.
And of course, it's crescent moonlight because, a symbol of Islam is crescent moon.
Prophet, and you believed him? Tell me, Mosey, you ever danced with the devil by the crescent moonlight?
Yes, and he looks just like a black man. But then I realized dancing was haram.
As your new prophet, the first order of business is that you need to recite the Shahada!
That's David all the way. That's a great thing. So we've got the Joker. So the Shahada is what you recite in front of the witnesses to become a Muslim. And so the Joker is now a prophet of Islam, the clown prince of prophets, which is another great line by David. And he's saying, you have to recite the Shahada. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful.
There is no God but that great big prankster in the sky, and Joker is his messenger of mirth. Here, shake on it.
Notice he's got the buzzer. He's like saying he's going to kill him. Basically, now Muhammad doesn't know about that, but he talks about a common thing that I've had happen to me before, where I've tried to shake hands with a Muslim and they won't do it. And now, don't get me wrong, all Muslims don't follow that, but it's because you're not supposed to shake hands with a kafir, or you give them the wrong hand. There's different things. You can look everything I'm up talking about. Like, look up, is dancing haram? And you'll find article after article about it. If you look up, can you shake hands with an unbeliever? Look these things up,
Shaking hands with a kafir is haram.
Calling your prophet a kafir is haram.
So haram's impermissible. And of course, the Joker is going to do, it's haram. And Muhammad's not amused by this mispronunciation.
Haram!
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 Sanity is just like jihad. Sometimes all it takes is a little push of a button.
That's Brian
Well,
from The
what
Shy.
are we waiting for? Let's blow ourselves up and get our standing ovation.
That line is a different version of a line where the Joker in The Killing Joke tells Batman, just beat me up and get your standing ovation. So this is the end, and watch. Everyone watch. Here it comes. I got to tell you, this took a while to get right. Here, let me remove myself out of the way here. Because we had to keep on reinstalling the pins in the deal, right? You know what I mean? Like in his vest or whatever, because every time we did a take, we had to reinstall the pins. So it was a little frustrating because we had to go, take the string, put it back on there, and they kept on coming out. And this little gun that David got was actually not really a very high quality gun. But what was cool about it is on camera it looked pretty good with the bang gun. And it's just funny because that's like a classic Joker thing. And so, you know, grenades have a delayed timer usually because you pull the pin, then you got to throw it. And so that's why he can do this while Muhammad is saying Allahu Akbar, and he doesn't blow up immediately. It's when Muhammad hits the button that the explosion happens. If you notice, there's also two different types of grenades. The two on the outside are somewhat different than the two in the middle. Personally, I like the design of the two in the middle best. Yeah, the gun was like $4. We got to get a real bang bang gun because that's epic. Now, I'm going to play this, and I want you to listen carefully. Maybe you didn't notice it before. I thought this was kind of dumb, but David wanted to say it. He has Joker say Allahu Jokbar. I was like, what if he just says Allah ha 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 Akbar or something like that? Like, because everything's ha ha Allah ha 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 Akbar. But he wanted to do joke bar instead, so he did. But let's go back a little. Oops, I just gave it away. Let's go back a little bit here.
Haram!
Sanity is just like jihad. Sometimes all it takes is a little push of a button.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's blow ourselves up and get our standing ovation.
Sounds good on headphones. Hey Sherry, I know. Just let's use keep the language G and PG if you can, please, Sherry Largent. Thank you.
Help this show blow up by telling me who the next guest should be. Of course, if you post a comment, I won't be able to read it because, as everyone knows, I can't read.
All right. That was quite the ride, wasn't it, ladies and gentlemen? We have done commentary. Now, let me show you what's going on. Got a lot of things to respond here to. GOCC apparently has made a video about me. Do I respond to that? I don't know. IUIC has also done some things recently that I feel I should respond to. There's going to be a new Boom Boom Room dropping. David, are you still in here? Could you tell us when that AP episode's dropping? You said tomorrow. Hopefully it does drop tomorrow. I could also do more commentary on these. On a more serious note, everybody, excuse me, I've got, what am I trying to say here? Oh, I've got a Bible study on Mark chapter 8 coming up. So probably Tuesday night, I'll probably go live and do a Bible study on Mark chapter 8. I am almost toying with the idea of going live again. I know the schedule's a little bit different. Some weeks I can do a lot, some weeks I can't. I might go live again tomorrow night because I've got so much to discuss. So David says, assuming Mike gets the edit back quickly, should be up tomorrow. So Camel Mike is the one who's doing the special effects. There's a brief scene on the Apostate Prophet episode that requires special effects. So yeah, we hopefully so. S. Draper says the Boom Boom Room got mentioned in the Catholic subreddit. Well, that's interesting. That's very interesting. All right, so Hafsa wants us to do Aisha. We actually have plans for Aisha. I would like to have the sheep on there. I think it would be funny to do an episode where Muhammad meets a sheep and we use a puppet, like like you do in Sunday school or something, like a puppet, a nice good sheep puppet, and he talks puppet sheep. I think we could get like a real puppeteer, like an actual legit puppeteer who could kill it and do a real. I would love to do that. Okay, so should I do this again? No, Roxby, you did not miss Vader. It is still being edited. Oh, let me say a little bit about that. The show's actually going a little bit over time. I really need to get out of here. Claymation sheep, oh my goodness. Check this out. What we did with this Joker episode is we knew the Joker movie was coming out, so we timed it to be congruent or congruous. I know congruent's a real word, but there's also a word congruous, isn't there? Anyways, thank you. Liza says, Vocab, can you please try and do this review and commentary with every Boom Boom Room video? Well, if you guys really want me to and you guys find it valuable, because they actually take a lot of prep. I've got to prep a lot more than you might think. Obviously, I'm doing some stuff off the top of my head, but I'm also like looking up stuff in advance. Anyways, yeah, I think that's it. Congruent doesn't mean kind of like simultaneous, S-Draper, right? So I might keep on doing these, but I can't only. I'm looking into it, doing all the episodes. I think I might start with the ones that are banned in Pakistan, because this particular video has been banned in Pakistan, and so I'm thinking that I might do the ones that are banned in Pakistan first, and maybe kind of talk about them with that. Congruent means compatible with or equal to. Well, so I don't know if that's the right word or not. Basically, what my point was, sorry, I totally got lost in thought there. Simultaneously, when the Joker movie got released, we wanted to put this out, the Joker episode, okay? Now, my point is, with Star Wars, we plan on releasing the Darth Vader episode along when Star Wars releases their next trailer. So when they release their next trailer, shortly after, while it's trending, we plan on releasing the Darth Vader episode and using some of the same tags. All right, homies. There's a lot to talk about. I enjoyed this, and you guys are a great audience. Praise God. We almost got up to 100 people here tonight, and you guys definitely did well in the super chat. I appreciate it. It really keeps me going because these things take time, as you know. And I am going to jam out for now. And let's end with one freestyle. All right, we're going to end with one freestyle, and that's how we'll close the show. So let me see. No. Not that one. No, not that one. No, that one. Let's do this one. Let's do this one. Begin. Mic check, my mic check, begin. Turn it down a little bit, mic check, my mic check. Let me get it right. Let me know how the sound goes. 1, 2, 3, go. Vocab Malone, this is the end of the show. It's time to drop the freestyle flow. 1 to the 2 to the 3 to the 4. Man, just chilling by my door. He's on the left, I got the coffee breath. There's nothing left, and the cup is fresh. Yes. Thank you for the blessing. Now I don't gotta be stressing with the super chat. Got a red and black hat attack, headphones, all that from Dr. Funny. He sent the money. And what's up tomorrow? Church Sunday. No got a Hyundai, I got a van. The video been banned in Pakistan. That's the band. Hey yo, let me turn up the mic so I can hit a grand slam. Vocab Malone, how you doing? Spit this poem. Let me ruin my whole reputation with the series. Check it out now, we delirious, curious like George. Check it out, it's a parody war, satire. I'm not tired, making parodies until I retire. Like Jeremiah with YouTube. Check it out now, don't mean to be rude, but just a little bit, cause I'm that dude. Rip it, check it out now, I chewed but Muhammad's by I refeed. Peep it out now, we gotta talk about P of the camel, that's a mammal. Peep it out now, we got other ammo. I don't mean it literally, figuratively. Peep it out now, beside the verses, we got the hadith. Look at them talking about camels taking a leak. Yo, take a peek, it's a lot of crazy. Yes indeed, but some cats be lazy. They don't want to read about how they collected Muhammad's blood and sweat when he bleeds. I proceed to rock the mic. And yo, thank you Liza, you know you did it right with the super chat at the end of the joint. Peep it out now, the video's on point. Yes indeed, we will provoke the Muslims into looking at the Joker. He brought up some serious issue. To the Muslims, we don't mean to dish you. Don't mean to give you a tissue when you cry, but gotta expose the truth, bring the lie. I meant that backwards, I got no tie. Peep it out now, kick it like Muay Thai. Oh, with the ill-type flow. Vocab Malone represent Ohio. Muhammad blows up at the end like Rambo. Peep it out now when the back got G.I. Joe. Painting on top of the wall. Muslims are banned from drinking alcohol, but it's cool when they get to paradise. Taking the chances like a paradise. Abu Bakr was real unsure. Peep it out now, what's the cure? It's not the P from the two-humped animal. That's crazy. Yo. Alright. Peace out, y'all. Thank you very much. Shout out to Rox B for the super chat. Be sure to join me tomorrow night on another edition of Street Apologist Live, where our goal is to make apologetics fun again, ladies and gentlemen.